Final of the Conference League is upon us. Finally, Chelsea entered the tournament as favourites. They reached the final as favourites. A long campaign. First of all, we made the Champions League after our win against Nottingham Forest. This one, though, this one is not just about winning a trophy. This is about cementing ourselves in European history. Record breakers. Only club in Europe to win it all. Conference League, UEFA Cup, Super Cup, Club World Cup, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. We've won it all. We can even throw the FA Cup, the League Cup, Community Shield, Premier League. We can throw it all in. Now, at the start of this campaign, when we entered the Conference League, I remember we spoke about it on the podcast about whether we wanted to be in the Conference League. Did we care? Did it matter? Was it an embarrassment for the club? And I remember saying back then, at the start of the season, that actually this is a really good opportunity for some of these players. This is a really good tournament for some of these players, because some of these players will have contributed heavily in terms of our congested fixture list at times, are playing on a Thursday, playing on a Sunday, playing teams that we were expected to beat, and they actually gave us a game. Thinking back to Astana, Legia Warsaw, just to name a few. But this is a tournament. This is a tournament and a competition that, yes, when you enter it, you're probably thinking, I don't want to be here. But when you get to the final, you want to win that final. And tonight is no different. Tonight can be no different. Now, this is a Real Betis team that has never entered a European final in their life. We've got previous. We've been in finals. We've lost finals as well, but we've won finals. Now, I'm going to say what I usually say. It's a massive game, but also it's a massive test. Not just for Maresca, not just for the players, but for a team as a whole. This is a massive test. Now, we've got the Club World Cup starting in 2 weeks from now. But this game here should mean everything for all these players. And I'm talking about the Keenan Dewsbury Halls, the Mark Goos, the ones that got us through, Christopher Nkunku, who helped us through to get to this final. This is their moment. This is their moment. Let's forget about Sunday. Let's forget about Nottingham Forest. Let's forget about qualifying for the Champions League. This is a final. And when you get to a final of anything, you want to win it. You don't want to lose a final. Real Betis, for me, come into this as a very good team. They've got some really good players. They've got the likes of Isco, Pablo Fornals. They've got Anthony in that team, Bakambu, who plays up front for them. This is a team that will give us this is the team that you almost expect to see in a final of the Conference League. Now, it could have been Fiorentina, it could have been Real Betis, but this is the team that will give us problems. They've picked up some good form over the last couple of games as well. I think they've conceded quite a number of goals, but so have we. Our form has slowly picked up at the end of the season, but we still have mistakes in us and we still are very weak defensively at the back. Tonight cannot be that day. We can't have the game where we're playing at the back and we're making mistakes. It's going to be really interesting, because if I was Maresca, does he play his strongest squad? Now, we know Lavia won't be in the team. He's not included in the squad. We know that Wesley Fofana is still out. We know that Mark Gu potentially will be on the bench. But is this a game where you trust the Keenan Dewsbury Hall, who has actually done really well in the Conference League? Is this a game where you trust Josh Ashiempong or Tariq George? Me personally, I'm playing Reece James at right back today. Reece James has to be at right back. We know that there's going to be no Lavia, so you'd expect maybe Caicedo and Enzo. Harsh on Dewsbury Hall, but this is a final, mate. This is the final. This is where we can make history tonight. Dewsbury Hall's been a very important player in our squad in the Conference League, but tonight's all about winning. Do I trust Keenan Dewsbury Hall against Real Betis in a final? Would I trust him if it was a Premier League game? I'm going to say no, and I'm treating this like a Premier League game. This is a win, very similar to Sunday. This is do or die. We must win that Conference League final. Forget about the Champions League qualification. Forget about the fact that, we've done what we've done domestically and our objectives have been met. This one will be, we're there now, let's go and win it. And the only way you win finals, win games, is if you put out your strongest squad. Harsh on Tariq George, but I don't think he makes my squad tonight. I really don't. He doesn't make the starting 11 for me. Maresca, I think, played down a lot of the sort of hype and the noise around this final in his press conferences. And even yesterday in the press conference, there was a lot of playing down. And I think that's the right thing to do, because I think if you go into this with the expectation that we are just expected to steamroll Real Betis, it could go one or two ways. And I think the last thing we need to do is to go into this final thinking that we've won it before the game's kicked off. Real Betis have done really well in the Conference League, and we can't underestimate them. They're not a team that will just be walked all over. I do think they'll get their chances, and I do think they'll take their chances. So we can't expect us to just sit around and hope that we're going to just walk our way through this game. This will be a very difficult game for both teams. The question is, who wants it more? Who wants to win this game today? Who wants to win it? Because it's going to be tricky. Either way, it's going to be massively tricky. Now, I've gone for my lineup, which I'm going to show you on the screen now. My lineup is going to consist of I think it's the team that I think will pick itself, if I'm honest. I think this is going to be the team that I would go with. I've gone with Jurgensen in goal, as we know that from earlier conversations, I think in the press conference last week, Enzo Maresca already said it would be harsh to not have Jurgensen in goal, who has played pretty much, I think, all of the Conference League games, bar maybe one or two. Reece James has to be a right back for me. I think he's one of those players we might see invert into the midfield during the game, but I think predominantly tonight we're going to need him to be that right back for us, because, as I said before, the predicted lineups potentially as Al-Zuzi might be on the left side for Real Betis. Again, they'll have Anthony and Isco in their team. So for me, we need some experience, we need some leadership, we need someone who's got that defensive mindset in the team. We know that Caicedo can play there. We know that Josh Achiampong is a very good defender, a good right back, but tonight's all about winning. Tonight is all about winning, and it's about making sure that we have the best players that we can have at our disposal, and that is Reece James. Tosin and Levi Colwell would make my centre-back partnership. Again, I think we need some height in the team from set pieces, corners, free kicks. I think we're going to need some calmness, some stability, a bit more experience, and I think Tosin does bring you that. He does bring you that. We've got to see that against Nottingham Forest, that just a little bit more defensive mindset. Not to say Trevor Chalobah can't do that, but I think tonight is all about understanding your weaknesses and your strengths. And we have to look at where we concede a lot of our goals from. They're from crosses, they're from set pieces, they're from corners. This is where you need height in the team. And I think we need to have someone like Tosin in there. On Sunday, him and Colwell were throwing themselves at everything. Every shot that was coming in was being blocked by the two of them. So I think for me, I'd stick with that as a partnership for tonight. And of course, I've gone for Cucurella on the left side of our defence as well. The two in midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, the dynamic duo in the midfield. I think for me, I can't have Keenan Dewsbury Hall in there tonight. I can't. Not to say he doesn't play a part throughout the game, but I can't have him in this team, because I think if you're going to win the game, you have to put out your strongest 11. We know at Moises Caicedo, the season that he's had, he's probably the first name on the team sheet. Enzo Fernandez, another one that we know is very, very good going forward, but again, a heavily reliant on Moises Caicedo to stay behind and clean up some of that mess that might trickle through from the attack. So for me, Enzo, Moises Caicedo has to be the two in the midfield. I've gone with Cole Palmer as the 10. Massive game for Cole Palmer. An absolute massive game tonight for Cole Palmer. I'd love to see him get on his team sheet. I'd love to see him. And when I was watching his warm-ups, his training session yesterday, and the boy can strike a ball. He can absolutely ping a ball, top corner, left corner, right corner. He's quality. We've got to get the best out of him tonight. Cole Palmer has to be the one that makes things tick and unlock in our attacking phases of the game, because if he doesn't, and we are up against a low block, or we're up against something that's really tricky and we can't break down the defence, you isolate him out of the game then. You know, he gets less touches on the ball. He plays a lot of his time at back towards the goal as well. He comes into that midfield and tries to make things happen in the midfield. And then before you know it, there isn't anyone to help play the ball forward to. So I think for me, Cole Palmer's going to be so instrumental. Him and Caicedo in that sort of midfield area of the pitch is going to be crucial tonight. We need them both to be on their A game. And yeah, they have to do us a big favour today, man. They have to go out and get that. They have to get the win for us. They just have to get the win and make things happen in that midfield. The two on the wide areas have gone for Pedro Neto on the left and Noni Madueke on the right. Simultaneously, you could swap those over. You could have Noni on the right, Noni on the left, Neto on the right. I think there could be some intricacy there and maybe swap them around. We'll have to see. I think it's harsh on Sweet George not to be in this lineup because, again, he's played a massive part in the campaign from the group stages to, you know, the knockouts. He's been part of it. He scored some key goals for us. But I just think, again, you know, you want to get a good lead in this game, you know, 2-0, 3-0, even a 2-1. Bring Sweet George on then. Bring him into the game then and introduce him. But I think I'm having flashbacks to the United game where he played up front, and I know he's a striker, he's not his natural position, but I just think play the strongest squad to start with and then bring on Keenan Dewsbury Hall, then bring on Tariq George. You know, let's start on the right foot first and then try and implement ourselves into the game. And up front, we have to see the return of Nicolas Jackson. I think one of the things that we have struggled with is our aerial threat going forward, you know, in the attacks. Someone who's able to hold up the ball, you know, link up the play very well. Nicolas Jackson can do that. He can do that very, very well. The problem is he misses too many chances, and tonight cannot be the night where you're missing chance after chance. We need you to get that ball in the back of the net tonight. The ball has to hit the back of the net tonight for Nicolas Jackson, because this is going to be the trickiest game of all our season. And I know I've said that a lot this season, but actually this is the trickiest game. I thought Sunday was a tricky one. That was a tricky game, but this one tonight, this means more. This is the trophy at the end of a really difficult, hard, grueling season where there's been ups and downs. You know, there's been a lot that's happened in this season. And this is probably the best way for Chelsea to sign off before the Club World Cup with the trophy, making history. Why not go out with the strongest squad and then introduce all the other players into it? So I'm hoping Maresca gets things right tactically. For me, he has to make sure that whatever he does, tactically it makes sense, whether that's in-game, post-game, pre-game or post-game, whenever, post-kickoff. He's got to get things right, because we want to be lifting the trophy at the end of the season. We want to lift that trophy. We want to have something that we can lead on and build on. Let's not forget, this is all building blocks. We want to be able to build from this final, go into that Club World Cup, build on that, get ready for pre-season, go into the season with the right mindset, bring in a couple of players, let a couple of players go. This is the moment for these players to give themselves the opportunity to stay at this football club as well. There's so much riding on it. You know, you got the likes of Christopher Nkunku that can come off the bench, Mark Gu that can come off the bench and make something happen as well. As I said, Tariq George will be there. And of course, Mykhailo Mudryk is in Poland, but obviously still banned, so he can't. But I'd like to see Mudryk again. You know, I think he deserves his medal. Apparently, according to the rules in UEFA, he's actually he's able to get a medal if we win the final. So, you know, I think he deserves it. He played a big part in the earlier stages of the competition. I think he deserves it. He's over there in Poland. If you haven't seen the videos, head over to our Instagram account. Linktree link is in the description. You'll be able to see Mykhailo Mudryk walking the streets of Poland in his Chelsea attire. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do we win this final? How do we win it? Who scores for us? Who's your lineup? Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. We are on the road. I think we're only about 8 subscribers away from the milestone of 800 subscribers. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe before you do anything else. And let's hope we can do a match review of the game. Conference League winners, history makers, and let's hope we can deal with the matter at hand tonight. Thanks for watching. Until then, we'll be back soon.